Picture this. Children dance around a raging fire, laughing as they throw stones at 3 burning corpses hanging above the flames. Sounds like horror fiction? It's not. This nightmare unfolded in Renaissance Florence, and one of those bodies belonged to Girolamo Savonarola, the fiery friar who once ruled the city with prophecy. How does a man go from savior to ashes at the hands of his own people? Stick around, because this story is darker than you think, and the ending will leave you stunned. In this video, we're diving into the shocking rise and fall of Girolamo Savonarola. He was a monk who convinced the city to torch its treasures, a preacher who dared to defy the Pope, and a man who burned others' vanities, only to be burned himself. His story isn't just history, it's a warning about how passion can inspire millions, but unchecked fanaticism can destroy everything. By the end, you'll see why his downfall still matters right now. Now, let's find out how Savonarola lit a fire that eventually consumed him. Florence in the late 15th century was rich, dazzling, and corrupt. Art flooded the streets, gold flowed through the markets, but so did sin. Into this city stormed Girolamo Savonarola, a Dominican friar with burning eyes and words that hit like thunder. He preached of wrath, warned of God's punishment, and predicted a scourge descending on Italy. People laughed until he was right. In 1494, the French king invaded Italy. The Medici family was thrown out of Florence. Savonarola had called it, and suddenly the mockery stopped. Florence looked to him for salvation. A new republic rose, and while Savonarola never wore a crown, he ruled with his sermons. He declared Florence the New Jerusalem, and crowds believed him. He had them. Once he had control, he changed everything. Carnival parties vanished. Music turned into hymns. Even children became patrols, knocking on doors and hunting for sin. What counted as sin? Beautiful dresses, perfume, mirrors, art not drenched in religion. If it was indulgent, it was condemned. On February 7, 1497, this obsession peaked with the Bonfire of the Vanities. In the city square, a massive pyre towered with silks, paintings, books, instruments. Citizens tossed in their treasures, masterpieces, jewelry, even portraits of Venus. Torches struck, flames devoured. The crowd cheered as Florence fed its glory to the fire. The smell of oil paint and burning leather filled the air. For Savonarola, it was triumph. For many, it was terror. But power breeds enemies. Florence's elite wanted their pleasures back. Rome wanted obedience. Pope Alexander VI, infamous for corruption, offered Savonarola a deal: take a cardinal's hat. Savonarola refused. He didn't want a hat. He wanted a martyr's crown. By 1497, the Pope lost patience. He excommunicated Savonarola. The threat was clear. Florence itself would be cast out if they clung to him. Suddenly, his grip weakened. Then came the moment that destroyed him: the trial by fire. In April 1498, rivals demanded proof. If Savonarola's cause was true, let one of his friars walk through fire. 2 massive bonfires rose in the square, leaving a corridor of flames between them. Thousands gathered. The tension was electric. Hours dragged, clouds gathered, rain poured, arguments erupted, the fire sputtered, the trial collapsed. No miracle, no proof. The people came for a sign. They got nothing. Overnight, admiration flipped to fury. On Palm Sunday 1498, a mob stormed Savonarola's monastery. Doors splintered, steel clashed. Savonarola and his followers Domenico and Silvestro were dragged out, shackled, paraded through the streets. The prophet was now a prisoner. Then came the torture, the strappado. His hands tied behind him, rope looped, body hoisted, then dropped. Shoulders ripped, joints cracked, bones snapped, again and again until one arm broke. In agony, he confessed. His visions were lies. When the pain eased, he retracted. When the rope lifted again, he signed whatever they demanded. Weeks later, he was reduced to a shattered shell. The sentence was final: death by hanging and fire in the city's heart. May 23, 1498. Florence gathered once more in Piazza della Signoria. A massive scaffold stood in the center. 3 nooses dangled above piles of wood. The friars were stripped, shaved, bound. The crowd jeered. Some stood in silence, remembering when these men were saints. Domenico and Silvestro went first. The ladders fell. The ropes choked. They kicked, gasped, and went limp. Their corpses hung waiting for the fire. Savonarola climbed last. The rope tightened around his neck. The ladder fell. His body jerked. He gasped. He struggled. Then silence. The prophet of fire was gone. Torches lit the wood. Flames roared. Heat drove the crowd back. The bodies blackened, swaying in the inferno. And then came the eerie moment. Savonarola's right hand lifted from the blaze. Not a miracle, just tendons tightening in the heat. But to the crowd it looked like a final blessing. Some gasped. Some kneeled. Others cheered. Children danced around the fire, laughing, throwing stones at the corpses. Florence turned execution into festival. When the flames died, the ashes were swept up, carried to the Arno, and dumped into the river. Nothing remained. Florence erased its prophet completely. Thus ended Girolamo Savonarola, a man who rose as Florence's savior and fell as its scapegoat. His story proves that charisma can command a city, but fire consumes even those who wield it. It forces us to ask timeless questions. How far is too far in chasing purity? When does vision turn into fanaticism? And how quickly can public love twist into public hate? His rise and fall isn't just history. It's a warning for every age. If this story shook you, smash that like button. Drop a comment. Zealot, hero, or victim. What would you have done in Florence? And don't walk away. Hit subscribe for more dark tales proving that history is stranger and harsher than fiction.